name is Wendy, and I need your support in my fight against mediation abuse. A mediation where I felt threatened, abused, manipulated, coerced, intoxicated, and possibly drugged as the only woman among 5 men at a court-ordered mediation. And at that, this mediation lasted over 12 hours. And yes, you heard right. Alcohol was served during mediation, and at that poured into glasses by the opposing attorney and slid to me, and all without my attorney being present. Did the mediator, the person overseeing this mediation, stop this? No. The mediator allowed the opposing attorney to leave mediation for a liquor store to buy the alcohol at the intense request of my adversary, whom I feared, showed the opposing attorney where the glasses were to pour the alcohol, and allowed the opposing attorney to pour alcohol into the glasses twice before my attorney ever entered into the room. And I could not refuse. My attorney told me after my husband left a divorce court-ordered mediation before it started that I could not leave or refuse to do anything requested of me, or the judge would rule against me and I would lose my company regardless of any outcome that we had decided. The people involved in this mediation, they represent some of the most powerful and influential legal professionals in Houston and in Texas. I was told by these people would be protected from my claims and were too high to fall, and such appears true. But the public must be forewarned. Instead of a fair and impartial mediation like the public is told exists when we are forced into a mediation, I feel as if these people worked hard to suppress my claims and minimize me as a woman. Those involved in my abuse represent the core of mediation oversight and should be held to higher example for mediations. If I can be treated like this by them, what is happening in other mediations? We must fight. I will discuss who these people as I retell the events and show you the documents to prove that my cause is worthy for donations and that continuing this fight helps the public and may help you or someone you care about in the future when they're forced into a mediation hinged on confidentiality that allows abuse. Whose interests should be important at mediation? Certainly not the self-interest of the lawyers or mediator, as appeared to have happened to me. The public must be made aware that confidentiality can be used to hide mediation abuse, bullying, manipulation, and more. Some of you may have their own stories of mediation abuse. Feel free to email me at support@smanow.org. Stop mediation abuse now. And let's work to stop mediation abuse and force the creation of boundaries to protect us, the public. Be aware that this can happen to you. Listen, learn, and share with everyone so we all be protected. And feel free to email me about your abuse of mediation, and especially those who I mention here. The mediator at this mediation was Edward Trey Bergman, current sitting chair of the Texas State Bar on ADR. The lawyer who was supposed to represent me but didn't, or I feel like he didn't, was Todd Zucker of Boer & Zucker, and is board member of the Texas Livestock Show and Rodeo. I am currently in appeals for lawsuits against Bergman and Zucker, and awaiting the opportunity for appeals to allow me to proceed in my lawsuits against them. The opposing attorney at this mediation, allowed to leave mediation for a liquor store to buy alcohol to intoxicate me at the insisting request of my opponent, is Todd Frankfurt, past VP of the Houston Bar on ADR and board member. The other opposing attorney present was Bradford Allen Brady, the lawyer who should have represented the interest of Accentria, a company of which I am a large shareholder and part of community property in the divorce. And he is also the reason who was mentioned in an email that I had dual representation claims against. He proceeded to file several years of expensive pleadings against me for refusing to sign the printed agreement. My opponent was Michael J. Johnston, CEO and president of Accentria and the National Pharmacy Technician Association, the company that I told Zucker, my lawyer, that I want to control due to impossible improper conduct of Johnston. Leaving before the divorce court-ordered mediation by a divorce court judge under a divorce court petition for Texas community property relating to the divorce was the man whom I was divorcing, Jody Meggs. Such leaving should have stopped the mediation from proceeding, as all parties were not enjoined on his departure. Continuation is against the Texas rules and credentialing rules of mediation when all parties are not enjoined. Unknown to Jody Meggs, and for some reason never told to him or myself, that I found out just last year, set an irrevocable agreement to pay for his mediation, signed by his lawyer and my divorce lawyer. Note that I had sent emails to my lawyers stating that Jody, Meggs, and I were going to work together to bring justice against Johnston. Yet the right to payment for mediation was intentionally withheld. Why would that happen? Judge for yourself as you see the story unfold. We as a public would expect more from these men of public positions, having been given such honorable positions of power and control. I know I did. I expected a fair, impartial mediation without coercion, threats, or fear for my life. I know this sounds dramatic, but when you hear the events and see the documents, you will understand. The question remains, if such position and power in the legal profession and community will allow them to get away with their actions, or whether the public will see that no one is too high to fall when a mistake is made. Will I be given the opportunity for the common person, a jury, to do the same to them, to judge them? Or will these legals, lawyers, mediators, judges, court clerks, and all within the legal community attempt various litigations and tactics to remove my claims before I can get to a jury of us, to expose my claims and the horrendous actions that happened to me by these people? Read and listen more as I tell you how I was forced into appeals. Knowledge of my events may protect you. We as a community must be aware of mediation dangers and demand our right to a trial by jury, lest you too become a victim of abuse. For that matter, how can the public be denied a right to trial by jury when the only alternative lie in decisions by their own kind, legals noted by the Gallup poll as untrustworthy and dishonest? Will a legal malpractice case ever be fair under the direction of legals termed as untrustworthy and dishonest? Read and learn. Would you trust someone for anything that affects one of their own, especially the power and coercion in their field, to be suddenly honest and trustworthy? Hear my story. Be afraid. Fight against forced mediation.